Chapter 66 to 68. Amon turned into his element, lighting, and rushed towards Whiskey Peak. Although the weather wasn't a problem for him, it was hard to navigate in the massive sea of blue, even with the eternal log pose. Nonetheless, since Doflamingo was able to, Amon didn't have any reason to fail. It took a few extra seconds than he anticipated, but around a minute after he left the sky, Amon arrived in the Whiskey Peak. 1/10 of the speed of lighting was too fast after all. Amon didn't outright land on the Whiskey Peak, though. If it was an admiral who came then, he would observe the situation and have to run away if things got out of hand. So, for now, he rather decided to observe the whole Whiskey Peak for any strong presence. He couldn't find such a thing, so he decided to look in the mayor's building, where Robin was. Phew! Seeing the cause of her calls, Amon released a sigh of relief. It was too easy for him to defeat that enemy. Sand will just turn into glass after a lightning strike. Though it remains a mystery if Crocodile will be able to move after getting a lighting attack, or turn into glass stone. Or maybe it will be a new Kekiai Genkai type thing. Amon calmed down and dressed into a different outfit in a flash. In a hurry, he didn't even change his tattered clothes from the fight with AI. After a few seconds of preparing himself, Amon took deep breaths to calm his heart and started to walk forward to the office. Knock, knock. Knocking on the door twice, he opened the door without waiting. "What's up? I'm back, Miss All Sunday." Amon corrected himself after noticing the uninvited guest sitting on the chair. With Robin looking at him with eyes full of surprise and relief, the guest, Crocodile, stared at him for a while. This is the kid who's been stealing his name for a while now. He's been making things hard for his plan. His 6 years of plans are almost about to get messed up by him. He wanted to kill him here and how, however. This is his territory. If the news goes out, which most likely will, it will be troublesome for his warlord position. First I just need to lure him away, Crocodile thought while looking at Amon with his usual half-closed eyes. I hate to do things so sneakily, it's as if I'm a rat. But I shouldn't be too reckless either, I should be patient. Crocodile knocked the table 2 times while Amon was looking at him with a raised eyebrow. "Welcome, Lucifer. I've been waiting for the whole day now." Amon looked at him silently as soon after, a smile bloomed on his face. "Oh, you must be
Mr. Crocodile?"
Crocodile frowned at the uncertainty in his tone. It was pretty impressive for someone to not recognize him at first glance around this area, especially for a person to be famed as the best hunter. Yes, but he controlled himself to not suck him dry. "You should have recognized me at first glance. This proves how worthless you really are." Robin frowned hearing him. "Mr. Crow. Sunday. Calm down." Amon raised his hands lightly and walked over, while Robin just got up from her seat, giving space for Amon to sit on the chair. Sitting down on the comfy chair, Amon smiled at Crocodile. "Is that so? It's a fault from my side then, however. You should also show some respect to me. I'm sure you are aware the best hunter of the generation is not weak." Crocodile frowned internally hearing him, though he maintained a calm demeanor. "I'm invincible, especially in sandy islands like this one. Luckily for him, this time I'm not here to take his worthless life." Crocodile was overconfident, and that was and will be the reason behind his fall. Amon snickered, internally sensing his overconfidence. "Rather," Amon pressed a buzzer on the table. "Why don't we talk about the important things?" While Robin kept looking at him, a hunter came and Amon ordered some cold drinks, though Crocodile didn't take anything, while Amon got himself a mango ice cream. Robin just stood on his side. Amon looked ahead at Crocodile with a smile on his face. "All right, let's talk." "So they want me to be a warlord?" Amon asked with the spoon in his mouth and his head tilting slightly. It's not something he didn't expect before. The Marines need warlords to maintain the balance of emperors. Yet, many people are against the disgusting and filthy pirates getting the protection of law. So it makes sense if the Marines want a strong individual with a clean background to take that one vacant position. Yes, don't ask me anything further. I'm not aware of anything else, rather. I'm just here for my personal interest. Amon ignored him for now. Currently, there were 6 warlords. Dracul Mihawk, Gecko Moria, Bartholomew Kuma, Jinbei, Don Quixote Doflamingo, and finally Crocodile. Fisher Tiger attacked Marihuas in 1509. It's a famous incident. That's also the time when Boa Hancock was released. So it's been 5 years only. I know about the existence of Kuja pirates, but they don't seem to pose as much threat to have received the offer to be a warlord. Amon thought inwardly. Boa Hancock was proposed for the position before, but she rejected it out of pride. Although in the canon, she would have accepted sooner or later, that won't happen in this timeline. The position of warlord didn't seem so bad to Amon. After all, he would be able to do many things with the protection of the law. That's a nice plus, actually, at least for Amon, who's currently trying to do things undercover. Besides, by taking Boa Hancock's position, he will kill 2 birds with 1 stone. According to my calculation, in 3 more years, My small sky island will become a formidable kingdom. Amon grinned internally. He will go to the moon soon. And me? I should be able to take on an admiral, or at least match one by pushing myself to the limit. It's decided then. Amon opened his mouth. All right, but I assume a marine was supposed to come. May I ask why you, another warlord, came to me? Amon said as Crocodile smirked. He will try to sugarcoat him now. The feeling of power, this kid has felt it already. Sweeping him to the dark would be easy at this rate. He might not have to even kill him. Rather, he would receive a powerful minion. Crocodile asked Robin to leave the room, which Amon didn't compile with. Not before pulling her to the side and whispering something in her ears. As Robin left, Croc then proceeded to explain his plans. Though obviously, he toned it down very much. He wasn't sure of the kid's mentality. It will be a problem if he holds on to a hero complex. For that reason, he was always prepared to finish the Amon at any time. He can just say Amon was doing illegal activities, and people will believe him. He was a hero after all. Kuahahaha. On the other hand, Amon was more than aware, so he was listening attentively. In short, Crocodile wants to create an organization that will one day take over Alabasta. It was quite interesting to Amon how he was letting out such confidential information so easily. But he assumed Crocodile was just being honest from what he has learned about Amon's greed. After all, he asked for 10 billion to save Alabasta last time, while proposing to not help otherwise. Crocodile was good at scheming, so he easily saw through Amon's personality at one go. That's only because Amon wanted, of course. However, it's quite stupid for you to assume I will work under you, Amon said with his fingers circling on the table. I mean, soon enough I will be a warlord too. How do you expect me to work under you? A 90-10 deal? For real? Amon laughed out loud but stopped soon after. He leaned forward, looking at Croc's eyes coldly. I would only accept a 50-50. Normally, a 50-50 would be something like a loss for Amon. But this time the one giving the proposal was an overconfident guy. Besides, Kuahaha. Crocodile laughed when he heard him. How blasphemous. Not that it matters. It seems I really have to kill him. He grieved on the loss of a potential subordinate and decided to finish the job. But he noticed something. Unlike when the talk started currently, there were water bottles and buckets all around the room. When did? My.
Mr. Crocodile.
Amon smirked looking at him. Would you look at the face you are making? You underestimated me this much, huh? You see, my assistant is quite handy. Literally, ha. Amon chuckled lightly and leaned back on his chair. Even a kid knows that water is the natural weakness of devil fruits, especially so. According to my theory, your sand fruit. Crocodile didn't say anything. Not that he was scared. He fought Whitebeard after all. He decided to proceed with his killing until Amon took out a dagger from under the table. It's a sea stone dagger, by the way. Not only that, my assistant outside is ready to scream your weakness to everyone. Imagine your future enemy's advantage over you after they know this. After this, Crocodile didn't know if it would be a good thing to try and kill him right here. Nothing is stopping him from doing so in the near future after all. I'm acting like a cornered rat, worthless. Without much choice, Crocodile accepted his deal 50-50 and headed out. He gave a glare to Robin outside who giggled. Amon told her about his weakness just now, so it wasn't a problem to sneak some water bottles and buckets in the room with her powers. Frowning, Crocodile walked away. He will kill him next time when he's not in his territory. That next time would be soon. Kuahahaha. Unbeknownst to Crocodile, Amon already had spies in his small Baroque works. Meanwhile, in the Marine headquarters, the Marine Ford, two old men were sitting in the Fleet Admiral's office. A man with a long pigtail beard turned his chair to the left and looked at the old man sitting on a bench and eating rice crackers. Hey, Garp. What do you think about the kid becoming the new Shichibukai? Huh. The buffed old man, the Marine hero Garp groaned. What's that to do with me? Leave me alone, Sengoku. I'm busy thinking. He was completely uninterested in this matter. He had more important concerns in his mind. The Fleet Admiral, Sengoku's face became deadpan. Soon he yelled, Oi, Garp. Garp frowned and looked at him. What do you want? Sengoku just sighed. He knew how Garp felt. He had a daughter after all. Did your grandson cause any scene again? Damn, I would like to meet him one day, he said as Garp munched his crackers. Anyway, ignore it for now. I have something important to say. Garp, still munching on rice crackers, looked at him. What? That kid? Sengoku frowned. What do you think he is? Burkan? Or a human who implanted wings? There were mad scientists in this world after all. Because I don't think they are a cause of devil fruit. Garp tilted his head confused. Huh. Who again? Oh. I remember. That bounty hunter kid. The brat who received the offer of warlord. Yes, him, Sengoku replied instantly. Commander-in-Chief, Kong and the 5 elders decided this. I was only let know of this afternoon. he said with a slightly angry tone while cursing under breath. Those bastards. Garp kept eating crackers, while he suddenly laughed. Bwahaha. You know, I once heard Roger went to the Sky Island. Maybe that kid is his son. Bwahaha. While Sengoku almost fell from his chair, Garp laughed loudly. Ha! Garp stopped. Jokes aside, the 7 warlord positions will be filled if the brat accepts the offer. Sengoku stayed silent, already knowing his next words. This era, it will be over in a few more years. You are what? After Amon spoke about his days, Robin was surprised to learn that he ate the Goro Goro no Mi. She jumped up and grabbed him by the shoulders, her hands shaking a little. Really? Why, you are not lying. She was in disbelief. If what he was saying was true, then he was practically invincible. The Rumble Rumble fruit is famous for being invincible after all. Yes, yes. I don't lie, at least not to you. Amon lightly removed himself from her grasp by teleporting behind her. See. Amon touched Robin's shoulders while she flinched. She turned around, but by that time Amon vanished from his spot. Amon started to flash around the room, while Robin kept looking at the scene with wide eyes. Really? At this rate, he might achieve his dreams. At this rate, maybe unlike how she was preparing herself to die with him, that won't be the ending waiting for them. Maybe, just maybe, they will live happily ever after. While she smiled lightly, Amon returned. He then told her the tale of him conquering the burqa, while she almost got emotional from him not visiting her for 3 weeks. Time passed fast. The next day a Marine came, and, much to Robin's worry, took Amon to Marine Ford. She was, nonetheless, relieved knowing that he would soon be given the title of warlord. After he returns after becoming a warlord, she will learn about his plans for Crocodile. In the meantime, she was collecting information on Baroque work, which she was doing for months now. On the other hand, along with Sengoku and Garp, Amon was taken to the Holy Land of Mariehua. He met the 5 elders there alongside the man above Sengoku, Kong. Wow, this place is the definition of luxury. Amon whistled while looking at the giant room he was in. Currently, Kong and the 5 elders were in front of him, while Garp and Sengoku were sitting on his 2 sides on the comfy sofa. The 5 elders didn't say anything, while Garp laughed from his left. Wahahaha. Most warlords who came here before weren't this talkative brat. Even more so with me and Sengoku sitting on the side. Garp seemingly didn't care about the 5 elders at all. He was there eating his rice crackers. Heh. Amon looked at Kong, who was preparing the papers. He looks strong. I can determine he is around Garp's level. Or maybe it's just my observation hockey messing with me. Besides Kong, the 3 of the 5 elders were sitting, while 2 of them were standing. They were releasing a calm yet dangerous aura. They were squinting their eyes all around Amon's body, giving him an uncomfortable feeling. Currently, Amon had his wings fused with his body using his Logia properties. So even if someone used X-ray vision, they won't see anything strange under him. Moving away his gaze from the geezers, Amon glanced at Garp. Hey, Amon whispered in Garp's ears. Does the elders act like this towards everyone? Or are they just pedo? Pff. Wahaha. While Garp laughed, the elders frowned. Amon appears too easy for someone in this heavy atmosphere. Amon also laughed with Garp, while Sengoku sighed from the side. This was something he expected. A bounty hunter was more savage than most pirates, after all. Fuck. Though Amon had a calm and easy look on the outside, inside he was scared as fuck. He was just going for some comic relief to not fuck up. Currently, if things go highway, he won't have any way to flee, let alone fight head-on. It wasn't that surprising that he's nervous and scared to some degree. Even so, no one could point out that he was feeling nervous. Suddenly, Amon noticed Kong looking at him, as he averted his attention from Garp. It wasn't something big, just the papers he was preparing until now. Kid, take these and take your time reading them. While ignoring his deep voice, Amon nodded and accepted them. Who knew the process was so complicated? All right, are you done reading everything? Sengoku's voice caused Amon to raise his head from the papers to look in front, where Sengoku was now seated. Oh, I'm around there. I decided to pay more attention to it after you said some of the restrictions were removed, since I previously wasn't a pirate. Replying such, Amon went back to reading. Garp, who was still beside Amon, exchanged glances with Sengoku in the meantime. The 5 elders were mostly silent besides a few words which weren't important. Amon was more than a little afraid being between them, though he had his mind prepared for that too. While munching, Garp glanced at Amon. What a wired brat. He seemed savage like normal bounty hunters, but he's acting too easy and nice around here. Garp realized the kid wasn't as old as his appearance suggested, which was pretty normal in this world. If he remains this soft even in the future, he will be badly used by the shitty government. Garp didn't really like the world government, yet he was also against his son's organization, the Revolutionary Army. Even if his son wins in the long run, the sacrifices would be too heavy for his lone shoulders. Sighing internally, Garp looked at the 5 elders. Hope that the geezers don't go out of their way to get their hands on the brat. From Garp's experience, he knew the prey can become a predator if cornered. He felt the brat beside him, who he assumed to be a prey, has the potential to become a predator as well. Because from what he could tell from his observation hockey and his huge experience in his life, the kid was strong. Most vice admirals won't hold a candle against the kid, and if he has enough battle experience, he might even survive against the admirals for a few minutes. The kid was strong, but luckily he didn't seem to have a bad heart. He was a little bratty, but that's not a problem. After all, Roger was like a brat too in his younger days. Laughing inwardly, Garp bit his snack. The papers in Amon's hands contained many forms and information about his political powers after becoming a Shichibukai. Although it had many privileges, it also had many restrictions. He's free to do many illegal things like attacking pirates legally. Even attacking countries with which the world government doesn't have any connection with is fine. However, Amon will have to pay a portion of his loots. Besides this, he will have to sign the slave contract. He will have to sign to serve world government fully, and will not get any chance to object against the will of celestial dragons. Well, not that any of the warlords complied with the offer, so Amon was fine. Finishing his read, Amon nodded and put down the sheet. Looking ahead with a smile, Amon moved his lips. It's good and all, but do I get to ask for some custom privilege? The 5 elders looked at each other, and the bald old man decided to answer. It's possible. We gave such opportunities to other warlords before. Amon smiled and took out a pen and paper, starting to write down his requests. Garp peeked from his side as he burst out laughing. Bwahaha, brat, I kinda like you. Amon ignored him and slipped the paper through the table. Kong picked it up as every elder peeked at the paper. Their eyes grew slightly larger, though Kong only chuckled. Well, that proves your ability then, Kong said and put the paper down. The paper's contents were like this. 1. Make whiskey peek my territory. 2. Remove all the spies around my territory. 3. Manual of the Marine's 6 powers. 4. The third and fourth request was the reason for their surprise, but it wasn't something too much, so they complied, albeit after a long debate among themselves. Amon had a smile on his face, while the elders looked a little displeased. Garp was laughing, and Sengoku was trying to stop him. The scene in the room was strange, and Amon carved the image of the room in his mind. One day, unless he achieves absoluteness early, this room will be his property. This would happen for sure since it is impossible for him to become absolute in this small world. This world's power level ends at the point people can go to the future, but none can return to the past. That's what Lady Toki said. Not that it mattered. If this planet can't give him what he desires, he will just go to another planet. This was the actual reason behind the goal of world domination to begin with. He will need a strong force to take over another planet, and this planet will be that force. One day, by taking one after another planet, he will definitely achieve what he wants. Even though the primary goal is world domination, the final goal is one. Absoluteness. Not to mix with omnipotence or strongest. Absoluteness is something greater than that. He will become more powerful than anyone and everyone. If the current most powerful being is omnipotent, he will even surpass him. He doesn't want to fall into that rabbit hole after all. For that, he just needs to become the abyss which will devour the rabbit hole. World domination is just a subpart, a given requirement of absoluteness. He wants to have everything under him, since he was once under everything. This is his revenge not against humans, revenge against the world itself. Absoluteness, Amon was fully aware it would be impossible to achieve that in this world, and maybe even in this entire solar system. But he is also aware the solar system ain't the end of it. The universe is vast. There are nebulae to help him achieve what he desires. Under the facade of ruling over the universe, one day Amon will succeed for sure. Maybe it will be earlier than he anticipated, or maybe millennia later than that. Who knows? But one thing everybody knows: nothing is impossible in a world of fiction. Or is it? Ignoring the thoughts with a shake of his head, Amon remembered something important. Oh, also, Amon called out, I have the Trump Pirates and 130 more individual formal pirates in my guild. They have been hiding from the Marines. I would like to declare my guild as an organization from now on, and every pirate under me would have their bounties revoked. Is that possible? Indeed, it's possible. One of the elders replied instantly as Amon smiled. He won't reveal his main base with Skypea, obviously. For now, Whiskey Peak would be his area. I also own Clockwork Island unofficially, which doesn't have any association with the world government under me. I want you to remove the word unofficial and add official at besides it. This time the people were surprised a little. They thought a bounty hunter didn't have any illegal history. Guess they were wrong. Hey, is that possible? Amon asked again as Garp laughed, and an elder replied with an affirmative. After doing the final work, by signing the papers, Amon officially became a warlord of the sea. It was only a matter of time before the warlord epithet will change into something more formidable. On a random island in the Grand Line, a red-haired Shanks was resting along with his crew. "Hey, Captain," a member of red-haired pirates shouted. "Do you have any idea what's going on around the world?" What now?" Shanks, who was a little drunk, asked. "Seriously, you don't know?" A new shichibukai appeared. "Moreover, it's a trap. Ha ha ha. I'm into that shit." Shanks smiled wryly hearing him, while he picked up a newspaper laying around. "Oh, really a new warlord, huh?" Shanks laughed while his crew was partying. Thinking for a few seconds, Shanks decided on something. "Guys!" He attracted their attention to himself. A new warlord was chosen. "The Marines are more powerful than before. We need to catch up. Haha. For celebration, let's pick a fight with a random emperor." Shanks was talking gibberish, drunk, though his subordinates yelled in exhilaration. Soon, a fight will happen. Not that it didn't happen in canon. Soon after, the world learned about the appearance of a new warlord. As it went frenzy learning the person wasn't a pirate before. One could see that, if the man did his duty properly, he may become the most favorite warlord among people. Which Amon would easily achieve, after all. This was a game of politics. Politics is something that exists even in this magical world. On the other hand, the revolutionary dragon was very breathless at this period. If what he knew was correct, which most likely is, the new warlord isn't the type of innocent boy he appears he is. However, this was one of the rare occasions where even Dragon himself wasn't sure of it. Was the person who destroyed Burka on a whim evil? Definitely. Was the person who saved everyone from that same incident evil? Most likely, he started it after all. Yet Dragon wasn't 100% sure. He decided to hold back for now. Deciding to observe things from the sidelines, Dragon stayed out of this matter completely. He was there, passive like always, but he was and will still be there even in the future. Oh wow damn. The Trump pirates had more exaggerated reactions than others, after all. Now they were a part of a warlord's crew. They felt a little proud, even though they were practically slaves right now. Honey Queen was lying in bed, with Amon beside her. Amon was sitting against two pillows placed at the other's top, while he had a book in his hands. Yawn. The woman yawned from Amon's side, though he didn't look back. "Hey, won't we get any special roles, or maybe gifts, since we are your subordinate?" Honey Queen asked with a yawn. She was quite casual with Amon. Even though the poison hurts badly sometimes, it's not like she is dying. It was also revealed by Amon that the more they endure the poison, the more strong they will get, so that's a plus. Always think optimistically. In the last year, she has grown a lot physically, though her exercise may have a big hand behind that. While she looked at Amon with sloppy eyes, he dropped down the book and looked back at her. "You want a gift?" he asked nonchalantly with a non-chant face. "All right. Huh? What's with that tone?" Honey Queen expanded the space between them. "I don't want it anymore. I swear I will do something bad if you make me a test subject again." Before she could continue, Amon touched her forehead with a finger of his left hand while holding a pocket watch in his right. Stozzz. Before Honey Queen could continue, she felt an electrical current entering her neurons. Her body started to shake, but it wasn't an uncomfortable feeling. WWA. Suddenly, her shaky eyes stopped. Her eyes were locked at the pocket watch. "You'll be a stone statue for 2 minutes. You won't even breathe in this time frame." Amon's words hit her like a hammer, as her shaky body also stopped while she froze in time. Luckily, 2 minutes wasn't long, so she won't even lose consciousness for not breathing this long. Amon came close to her frozen face and looked within her eyes. "It worked fine. Using electricity to numb her senses helps with my hypnosis. It's not something new. Back in his previous world, there were cases of hypnotism by flowing electricity through the brain. Likewise, one day, he might be able to pull these hypnotic attacks with just his devil fruit powers as well. But there was another important thing. However, what was that shaky effect? The shaky effect wasn't just an ordinary shake, since the bed was wet on Honey Queen's part. She climaxed without Amon even touching her. The reason? Yes, brain neurons are what produce the feeling of pleasure in the first place. If Amon uses a minimum voltage and can move the electricity skillfully, he might succeed at making an aphrodisiac-like skill. It should be pretty useful if he masters it and can use it on multiple targets at once. Making your enemy dance in pleasure can be dangerous for them and useful for you. It also has other versatile uses. Hawa! Honey Queen regained her senses as 2 minutes passed. While she glared at Amon, Amon just laughed and leaned towards her. Things were moving smoother than previously, and new members were constantly joining Amon's guild, which was known as an organization to the higher-ups, while still a guild to normal people. It now accomplished many kinds of work in the dark, legally. Even so, Amon didn't do things that were considered too much. There is always a limit to things. This is the reason why Crocodile wasn't confident enough to try and kill Amon from the get-go. He had a reputation as the best hunter, so even Crocodile would have faced trouble after doing the act. Well, it's a case for when he would have succeeded only. Meanwhile, Amon was learning drawing from Robin. He was learning to draw many animal sculptures from her. Her artistic side was happy to help him learn them. After researching a little on why Enel did what he did, meaning why Enel used the 4 drums in his back, rather than just attacking normally, Amon realized it had an actual reason backing it. It's hard to form detailed creatures made of electricity like that thunder dragon and thunder bird that Enel used. From what Amon was able to perceive, it seems the drums in Enel's back were special. They had what Amon liked to call formations craved in their skin veil of the drums. Unlike its Chunny name, it wasn't something magical and can be explained by science. Inside those drums, animals such as a dragon and the vermilion bird were sculpted by gold in the veil made of skin. When channeling electricity through those sculpted animals, they take the form of the animal that was sculpted, and Enel controls them freely after doing such. That is something that can be done without the help of any instruments like the mentioned drums, however. Without a certain level of mastery over the fruit, it can't be done freely. Normally, the last time Amon made an azure dragon of lighting, it took him 3 minutes and 56 seconds to perfectly form it. By this time, even a mob would easily be able to claim his head. That was also the reason he's learning drawing. Having an artistic mind and detailed imagination would help him create these things more efficiently and quickly. It's pretty clear he won't implant some drums in place of his beautiful wings. So here was Amon, trying out the powers from a golden sculpture he made with Robin. Amon POV. Currently, it was night and I'm on an isolated island with Robin beside me. In front of me, the ground is carved, forming an azure dragon. The carved ground was just normal ground made of earth. Since it wouldn't have worked to test my theory, I dripped melted gold in the carved ground, and now it's shining gold, making it conducive for my electricity. All right, it's done. Try it, Lucy. Robin was sitting in front of me and finished doing the finishing touch. Now it's perfect theoretically. I should be able to achieve what I came for. Foo. Come here, stand behind me, Robin. I asked her as she nodded and did as I said. Without waiting for anything, I smile and place my hands on the ground and put 2 of my fingers inside a curved line in the carved ground. ZZZZT. Ah! As I slowly conducted electricity, the dark forest became bright. Too bright. 106 million volts. Azure Dragon. Normally when trying to form something detailed, I have to think hard about the details, however, not this time. I was just channeling my powers while Robin stared agape at the scene. Roar. With a strange roar, a massive dragon made of lighting came out of the golden ground and went to the sky. I could feel my control over it, but I wasn't in the condition to do so. I was simply impressed and a little proud of my own creation. The dragon was massive, unlike Enel's small snake. It was a real dragon. The size, I wasn't sure, but it looked as big as Kaido to him. And it's not like I can't increase the size of it. I just need to channel more E into it. Yay! As the dragon went towards the empty sky, the space and out of my control, I jumped up in joy and hugged Robin, who was on my side. General POV. Days later, Amon was there training his subordinates. In a few days, they will have to visit a certain kingdom in the Blue Sea, so they need serious training. They weren't on the training grounds, since it wasn't big enough for every one of the gods' people to be present. Rather, they were out in the old forest with ancient trees. This scene looked cool and beautiful. Today was the day Amon conquered the upper yard 4 years ago. So it was a day of celebration, and Amon decided to open the Forbidden Land for the guests, without any charge at all. For that reason, many Skypieans came to see today's training. Among them, Coin, Conies, and Pagaya were present too. Amon glanced at them and waved his hands. While Conies jumped in surprise, Amon ignored them for now and shifted with the main course. Today, in a large ring, Amon was there with 3 more people. Wiper of the personal guards, Rio of God's militia, and finally, a man who, in a different timeline, would have become famous in the name of Mad Monk. Yes, he's the Birkin high priest, Mad Monk Urij. A Mythaba. Urij, like always, had a massive grin plastered on his face.